All right, guys. Well, here we go. We're live now with our first map. In fact, I think we got some action going on already, so let's jump into that quickly before we miss any of the kills. Once again, it's going to be VRespawn on the blue side. Danglers will be on the red side. 1-2 exchange, though, in the favor of the Danglers, just barely, as both teams really go at each other at the start. Not a whole lot of time for players to try and pick up superior weapons. You can see a lot of just default pickups these guys worked with in the initial fight. Even the Danglers with an advantage, but just barely with an advantage. Only +1 at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Pesky Cashew just picked up that dual Rico Shaker, so that he's going to be able to cause some damage once he gets in tight. He's going to utilize the cover very, very intelligently. Now he's got the angle on Rukafelth, or no, on Stealth, I'm sorry, or Stu, not Stealth. I'm combining names now, Blue.
It's all good. It's a little late for us, of course. By the way, we got Pesky Cashew trying to move in on a flank right now, but he's been a little bit restricted. However, able to work his way out. Finishes off Stu with the Ricochet, and now it's about cornering Rukafelth. He's hiding behind this little reef, sitting on the top side of the map. Stumpinub's not going to be too keen on jumping into the fight in his own regard. Has a little bit of health to try and go and scavenge for himself there before he recommits himself into the engagement. He did just get scanned out, though, so he's got to be careful of that. Thankfully, his teammates got him covered. That's going to be the Cosmic Ripper doing work from range once again. Stu, though, able to trade that back out for VRespawn, taking out Pesky Cashew, who was still in the open after finding that frag.
Yes, Stumpinub, I don't know if that little bow he's got on top of his head is helping him out, but it's a cute little thing, I tell you. Yeah, you know, it's odd, too. We're seeing Pesky Cashew kind of carry the Danglers through this round. Last time we saw, you know, Stumpinub carrying the team. He was getting all the frags, and Pesky was there to help clean up or help him out in a tough spot. But now we're seeing Pesky just completely carrying at 5-1, and Stumpy not able to land a frag yet, but they have been able to keep VRespawn at the disadvantage. They are still holding that 2-frag lead. And now it turns into a 3-frag lead as Stumpinub gets that kill, and Pesky Cashew follows it right up to add another point to it. These guys are just, their timing is so great, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're able to take out both enemies within a quick succession and not really give them much opportunity to fight back.
Yeah, that's a lot of what it comes down to on this game in general. It's just your kind of timing and your initiation angles as well that you end up taking. Like right here, really good example. Stumpinub diving in from the top. Stu is at an off angle, so unless he wanted to break his neck, there was no way he was going to be able to react to that appropriately. And there you go. Now that it's down to a 2v1, Stumpinub can move in. He's got support from Pesky as well. If they deem it necessary, they could pretty easily pick up 2 more frags right there. Really good timing, really good positioning, really good engagement, timing choices coming out for the Danglers, and it's why they're so far ahead right now.
I hope in the future we can actually get us a mini-map, because I'd really like to be able to look at a top-down version of how they're controlling the map, right?
It's always tough on games like this that are really vertical.
True.
Just because of the fact that you have to show that verticality on the minimap somehow.
That's a good point.
It'll be a little bit difficult on the guys from Ubisoft, but we'll have to see if maybe they can add that in the future. Either way, things still going decisively in the Danglers' favor at this point. Stu finally getting a 4th frag for his team as he's able to get some damage at range with the Cosmic Ripper against Stumpy. He's going to have to take some time to try and regroup with his teammate here, though. He's just coming out of spawn. That's a Rukafelth. Stumpinub, the same thing for him. He's just managed to work his way back out. Pesky Cashew, in the meanwhile, already nearby Stumpinub. All 4 players ready to go at it again. It's just VRespawn has to be very careful about how they proceed from this point forward.
Yeah, it looks like the Danglers are actually kind of baiting in the VRespawn guys. They're not really making any sort of forward momentum. They're just kind of hiding out, staying with each other, supporting each other, and now they've got Stu coming in off the side. Stumpy's going to actually turn that around and save him after a quick frag onto Pesky, and now Stumpy's going to have to hold his ground, or at least stay alive until he can get his support back from Pesky, who should hopefully be coming out of that tunnel just about any second now with a little bit of assistance for him.
We got Rukafelth working his way towards this now. Obviously, both of those guys are being a little bit careful not to give over too many more kills. They do have to still keep a good pace with this, though, considering the lack of time they have. But there you go. Managing to get both the members of the Danglers out into the open. They're going to be able to pick up 2 more frags. They'll start to bring this back. 4 frags in 50 seconds, though. That's still a tough ask for VRespawn at this point. Danglers can still be relatively secure in their position as long as they don't play too aggressively. Or they've got the shield to work with. Stumpinub inches the advantage forward by 1 more fraggle. That is going to be traded back relatively quickly. But again, the same thing for the Danglers. They just take such better control in these fights. And now they've got the lead again at 14-9. 1 more, and they've got the map. Or they can just wait out these last 30 seconds.
And it looks like they might just wait it out. Stumpy is in a bit of an engagement down there. He's going to stay alive, but no, he's going to score that kill, and he will clinch the first map for Danglers.
And there you go, folks. 15 points or 15 frags, and that will give it over to the Danglers. Seems like the Biopump Shield combination is nigh unstoppable at this point, as we were able to see Stumpinub pick up the final frag within a very clutch situation. Almost turning it around at the end there for the guys on VRespawn, but just not enough, unfortunately. They fell off by the wayside pretty heavily in the mid portion of the match, and that just gave the guys on on Danglers too much of an advantage to play off of in the late round.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When they kind of lost that, when that gap opened up, because they were keeping it really tight there at the start, right? And then when that gap opened up, Danglers just took advantage, and they were really controlling the spawn. They were controlling the map, and like we talked about, they're really good at working together. You know, one engaging, the other one maybe finding a different angle or coming in from beneath or above. You know, they're really utilizing the angles and the verticality of the map to their advantage. They're not just playing it on that horizontal plane. They're playing in all planes.
By the way, guys, just want to put a bit of a correction for we were talking about the finals earlier. We were saying about how you want to try and find information on how to attend. Unfortunately, there is no open attendance for that event, so I just wanted to clarify on that. I had some wrong information, and I assumed that it was going to be an open event for players spectators to come and attend. Apparently, that is not the case. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that really quickly before we got into our next map, which thankfully is happening right now, folks. Let's go into it. Map number 2 between these two teams. It is a land spot on the line. 2 more maps for our currently leading team in the Danglers. If they can push ahead and win 2 more in a row, they've got it. The land spot will be theirs.
We are getting a bit closer of the matchup, though, as we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy to see, especially at this stage in the bracket. You know, things got to get close at some point, right?
You would hope so. That's certainly the case. Either way, we end up in a 1-for-1 exchange at the start of map number 2. Neither team really able to get out to a huge lead at the beginning here, although the Danglers are certainly going to be looking to try and take it in their favor. Stu with a nice denial on the Ricocheters there, nearly loses his own life, but is able to just barely turn it around at the end against Pesky. Gives VRespawn the advantage for the first time in the series at 2-1.
Yeah, VRespawn are playing very well. I just think that they lost control of their momentum in that last map, and right now they're controlling the momentum, so I'm thinking that we're going to probably see things kind of flip around here. Unless the Danglers can get on a bit of a tear, and it looks like, yeah, Pesky Cashew going to go ahead, help take down that second VRespawn member, and Danglers will take a point lead as they wait for the new spawns from the blue team.
Let's see, Danglers ahead now, but obviously having to be a little bit careful due to the staggered positions that both of their players have in comparison to VRespawn's 2 individuals who are very pieced together at this point. Pesky Cashew finding another pick, stumping up, going to dive in once again, but it's not going to be enough. Rukafeld actually gets the better of him on the biopump, but Pesky with the Ricochet can spread projectiles around the entire room, finishing off the fight just barely too. You could see his HP was very low, only had a sliver of health remaining there before he was going to be knocked out. He's got the rockets to try and work with now in combination with the Ricochet.
That's going to be an interesting combo. Those rockets,
especially at close range,
yeah, they're really slow. Those rockets,
which you can see right there. You kind of have to lead them a little bit too. So in this kind of close quarter situation, there's a lot of chances for it to just bounce off a wall and end up not even hitting its target because of how much it jitters around on its path. So the team's going to be a little bit careful there. Stumping Up will move in, just kind of steal the big health pickup. So no one from VRespawn can get it. And again, it's just Danglers taking so much control in the early round, doing a really good job of using this relatively like confusing layout of this room too. It's very hard to guess where exactly Danglers players are going to be positioned at. And it's not even really, you know, Danglers' fault that they're ahead so much. VRespawn was just jumping into the fight so often in that one room. And because Danglers was able to reposition so much, they kept being able to cut themselves back ahead. Although VRespawn's going to make a little bit of an effort here. They pick up at least 1 more frag. It's not enough that Stumping Up finds the immediate trade, and we end up 4-9.
Yeah, Stumping Up has been on fire so far with that shotgun. I mean, he has just been wrecking. Finally seeing Stu TV taking him down, and now the Danglers are on the back foot, or so you might think. Pesky Cashew going to find Rukafeld, and then Stu Game's going to come in and get that nice quick refrag. A good show of teamwork from VRespawn. They are playing well together, but I'm not sure that their movement, like you said, is quite up to par with Danglers, and I think you're right. I think that's where Danglers are getting the edge here. Their overall movement and their ability to kind of adapt fluidly is really giving them the edge. It's allowing them to reposition in the middle of a fight, whereas we see VRespawn kind of staying fairly stagnant. Like it's almost like they get nervous once they get shot at and they don't want to move.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's cost them quite a few lost frags here in these circumstances. A lot of close calls when it comes to the biopump games, though, or the biopump 1v1s that are going on between a lot of these players. Like, we're seeing Rukafeld pick up quite a few kills, despite the fact that they're behind on this one. Same can be said for Stumping Up, though, who's the primary user of the biopump for his team on the Danglers. Now just 3 more kills away from being able to close this out. Stu actually almost losing his life to a map hazard right there. Yeah. Stumping Up, though, now switching over to the Cosmic Ripper, trying to play a little bit more of a longer range game as the close range game has become a bit more even. So they're going to try to change it up a little bit, throw a curveball at VRespawn, and so far it seems to have worked. They've got 1 kill for free, no trade in sight from anyone on VRespawn.
And it looks like the Danglers are holed up in there because this is where a few health drops and armor drops come in, so I think they're waiting out the drop so that Stumpy can pull up some health. Pesky gonna find a nice frag, nice headshot, if you will, on Rukafeld, and then he grabs Stu, and that's gonna be it. Danglers are gonna secure this map as well, and the series.
Nope, they got to do one more.
Oh, one
That's
more.
the final,
Sorry.
remember, because it's qualification.
Now I'm the one with bad information. And I apologize.
It's all good. So potentially one more match still to come here, or up, I should say, up to 3 more matches still to come if we can see VRespawn bring it back a little bit. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Unfortunately, some very one-sided maps once again happening. Well, actually, the first one was relatively close. Even this one, obviously, a lot closer than the previous 2 matches that we had. But it just seems like in terms of who's definitely going to win these maps, at this point, there's been no doubt that it will have continuously been the Danglers for these first 2 matches, just because of how much of a streak they're able to go on. Like right here in these circumstances, when they shoot 5, 6 frags ahead, it just falls apart within a minute or so here, unfortunately, for the guys on VRespawn, and it's knocking them out of the map before they have a chance to recover in some circumstances.
It makes me wonder if the tilt factor is factoring in at all, right? Like, you know, you get behind a bit or a good bit in some cases, and your brain just kind of wants to shut down on you, right? You just like, you have to be able to work through that. You have to keep level-headed, right? You can't tilt, because when you tilt, your emotions get in the way, you start making foolish decisions, and you might run out in the open, depending on what you're doing. But you really expose yourself from just make poor decisions when you get tilted, when you're allowed to get angry or get upset or sad because of how a match or a previous round went. So you got to try and shake that stuff off if you really want to stay competitive, especially in long days like this where you got a long bracket to fight through.
Especially in this game too, because of how fast it is. If you get distracted too much or get bothered by something too quickly, that's it. You're out. You've lost the game already. You cannot get distracted in this game. You cannot let anything take your mind aside. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a disadvantageous position very, very quickly. Well, here we go, folks, into our 3rd map, which could be our final map now. If we see the Danglers close it out, let's see if they can do it, or if VRespawn's got a little bit of life left in them. Bounce it back into their favor.
And a quick engagement right out of the gate. Stu Games going to find a nice shotgun kill onto Stumpy Nub. Something he's not probably too used to getting, the receiving end of the shotgun. I think he's more used to giving out that damage, but we'll see. Again, a little bit slow on the start here.
Yeah, Pesky obviously just backing up after losing his teammate there in the initial fight. So Stumpy is now going to be kind of out on his own, and he's also been cornered here too. This is looking like a complete reversal all of a sudden here. Danglers are having a lot of problems getting some power positioning over VRespawn, and as such, they're taking it along with all of the health, weapon, and armor pickups that come with it.
Yeah, that's something we've not touched on too much, but those pickups and getting them or keeping the enemy team from getting them is a huge part of this game, right? Because they always spawn in the same locations. They're just on a timer reset. So you got to make sure that you're getting your heals off if you're the ones hurt, and if you're not, you're preventing them from getting them, or preventing the armor pickups, or preventing the decent weapon spawns, right? So pickup management and map control are huge parts of this game, and I think the pickup management side especially is quite underlooked as far as maintaining a good situational awareness in the map.
Slingshot in the open might have been a big mistake here for Rukafelth and the rest of the guys on VRespawn, as they do find themselves turned around for the first time in the map, allowing for the Danglers to pick up their first few frags. Now it's time to see if they can build upon this, or if VRespawn is going to be able to once again take back control coming out of spawn. But there's a teleporter in this map too, which has the additional capability for things to be shaken up a little bit. But at the moment, still favoring the guys on the Danglers. They find their 3rd and 4th frags. One of their players just barely surviving the outcome. I believe that was Pesky Cashies that makes it out with only about 15 to 20 HP left at the end of the fight. He's going to have a chance to heal a little bit, but meanwhile, Stumpy Nub is probably going to be already forced back into the next fight here. He knows he's been scanned out. It's that big red beam around him and the blue beam as well, but no, Bio Pump up close gets him yet another frag, this time against Rukafelth. Pesky moving in with the dual-wielded Ricocheters. Gonna find another frag, but it's not even going to be needed. Stumpy Nub gets that kill as well, and just like that, the Danglers are back in control of the lead.
It's amazing, and I honestly thought Danglers were in a tough spot still, because at the start of that, before the frags started coming from Danglers, they were a little separated. They weren't really close to each other, but I think maybe that teleporter came into use, and one was able to come in and back up Stumpy Nub at the last second or vice versa. But yeah, they were seeming a bit spread out in what we've seen in their earlier rounds. It seems like they stay within, you know, not arm's reach or anything, but fairly close to be able to back each other up at just about any point.
Got the 2 players on VRespawn kind of separated from each other right now. They got to be careful about this one. It looks like they were able to navigate into a much better position, so they've kind of moved themselves out of that dangerous spot now, but there was a moment there one of them could have been isolated out pretty quickly. Not going to happen now, though, and we can see quite a few plasma rifle kills coming in as a result of that. One of the members of the Danglers getting knocked out. VRespawn has, of course, now taken the lead back into their favor in the process. Stu looking for the second pickup against Stumpy, who gets incredibly aggressive, but I think one of them actually ends up going down there, so a trade back into their favor puts us at 9-7. The Danglers still fighting to get back control and end the series here. 2 minutes left to do that.
This must be VRespawn's map. You know, this gotta be one of their favorite maps, because they are playing it extremely well, and this is the toughest we've seen Danglers struggle yet tonight, you know? They did bring it back there for a second, and now they're within 1 point again, but, you know, so far we've seen VRespawn really controlling this map in comparison to the other rounds that we've watched.
Stumping up, a rare miss on the bio pump for him, but he's going to shoot himself forward to correct that. As he takes out Stu, evens us back out at 9-9 as they found that 8th kill a few seconds ago too. Pesky, he's got the Ricochakers to try and use at range. Wanted to go for a scan, but no. His opponent reveals himself once again, and he's able to finish things off quickly. That'll put the guys in the Danglers back into control of the lead once again. A fresh pickup on the plasma rifle for Stumpy, refills his ammo. Now Stu as well, kind of just out of position, trying to wait for Rukafeld to regroup with him, as he's also looking to get guns. Stu just got scanned though, he's got to be careful about this. So now you can tell, VRespawn, or excuse me, Danglers going to be jumping onto him in just a moment.
I'm surprised they haven't moved a bit faster to push that after the scan. They're allowing for a lot of time between the scan and the actual attack, but Stu Game's going to get a bit aggressive trying to find the flank on Danglers, and Stumpy Nub will go ahead and just say, not today, sir, not today. He's going to pick up the kill there, and now VRespawn will be trying to regroup after the respawn.
All right, well, it's coming down to it now, guys. 35 seconds remaining here. VRespawn's kind of missed their opportunity as now the Danglers are starting to shoot ahead once again. A four frag lead against VRespawn. You've got less than 30 seconds on the clock here now. They've got to try to get their positioning back, and more importantly, some control over the weapon spawns very, very fast. Otherwise, this is going to go the Danglers, and they're going to take a perfect run to make their way into the LAN finals. Pesky Cashew ending up in a bit of a scrappy fight, but he survives it, picks up the win on that one. One more is all the players in the Danglers need, other than waiting out the last 9 seconds on the clock here. We'll see if they can get the snipe. Stu's trying to make it difficult here, but it's not going to matter in a few seconds. It's going to be over, ladies and gentlemen. The Danglers are going to take it 3-0. A perfect run through the upper bracket. They've earned their spot in the grand finals, but it doesn't even really matter anymore as they've got the big prize for today's qualifiers, and that is a spot at the LAN finals. Big congratulations. They'll be our first Space Junkies team to qualify.